my event occurred over a 2 or 3 day period. It wasn't all at once. I was flying missions. I was stationed in Barbers Point at Barbers Point Naval Air Station on the island of Oahu in Hawaii. It was in 1982, and it was during the Rim Pack exercise, military exercise, Rim of the Pacific. It's called. It's the biggest military exercise in the world. They do it every 2 years, and it was my air crew. I have a whole team of guys I flew with. We were on crew 6, flight crew 6, so it was our turn to go fly a mission. And it's a long-range patrol airplane, so we were going out for a 12, 13-hour flight. And so this is a big 4-engine heavyweight turboprop airplane that weighs over 70 tons. And so we took off and had full load of fuel. We're at max allowable takeoff weight. And we got to about 10,000 feet of altitude and had a malfunction on number 1 engine, and we had to shut it down. So we had to fly around for another 45 minutes or so to burn down to max land weight. And because we're heavy, we have to come in a lot faster than normal. And because it's an emergency, declared an emergency, you have fire trucks, emergency responding trucks literally on the side of the runway. And they are, here's the runway, and they will park at an angle, and as you go by on the runway, they'll pull in behind you and chase you. And then there's 2 more down, and they'll pull in after you go by them behind the other 2, and so on. There's usually 6 fire trucks, 3 on each side. And that's normally a good thing, but that day it was not. So we were landing on parallel runways, and we landed on the left one. It was 040 was the heading, so we were landing on 4 left. When the main mounts came down, everything was okay. When the nose gear touched down, I believe the pilot, Lieutenant Lovegren, used the wrong rudder. And instead of correcting for a swerve that we expected to go to the right, because you have 2 engines giving you reverse thrust on one side versus 1 on the other, you expect a swerve, and you should put in left rudder. He put in right rudder. And at those speeds, we departed the runway pretty much right away. And the problem with the fire trucks was they were sitting right there, and we're headed directly at the one on the right side. And there's a guy on the water cannon on top with a firefighter with the silver suit, and we were headed directly at this fire truck. I had death coming at me at 150 plus miles an hour, and there was absolutely nothing I could do about it. And I remember thinking, the last thing I was thinking was, oh my God, my son. I had a 2.5-year-old son, and I'm like, I'm never gonna see my son again. And about that time, everything started changing. It went slow motion. It was really bizarre. And I had these different perspectives happen. My soul leapt out of my body, and now I'm out of the airplane looking down on it. I can see everything. I know where the fire trucks are, but I'm still in my engineer's seat, and I've got that perspective. And then the right wingtip went over the front left corner of the fire truck. I could see that guy on the water cannon screaming at the top of his lungs. I couldn't hear him, of course, because I'm in the plane, but I could see him screaming in terror. And the number 4 propeller is spinning, right? The outboard right-hand propeller, and moving forward at 150 plus miles an hour. And it had to have gapped the front corner of that fire truck. That's how close we came to it as it's spinning without hitting it. And I just, there's a difference between I think I'm gonna die and I'm dead and I know it. There's a big difference in that. And that's where I was at. And so when I was out of body, about that time he went into reverse thrust, and because we're on asphalt, planes don't normally travel on, there's a lot of dust and debris out there. And from somewhere, this Pepsi can came up and shot across the windshield from left to right. It probably took milliseconds, right? But it was slow motion. I'm seeing this thing tumble. Pepsi, I could see Pepsi, it's a Pepsi can, 12 ounces. I could see that, the fluid coming out of it, brown fluid, and then it atomized the fluid as it hit the air, the wind that was hitting it, and the turbulence. And I started focusing on the little bitty pieces of debris, and then all of a sudden, I didn't just have my outside perspective and the inside perspective, I became the debris. I was where every tiny piece of debris was, all wrapping and rolling around each other, but I had a 360-degree bubble vision view from every one of these millions of perspectives, and the tiniest piece of debris that was in the air, and I'm totally confused. You'd think it would be chaotic, right? It was a bit confusing because I didn't understand what was going on, really, but there was this sublime perfection going on. Everything was right where it was supposed to be, doing exactly what it was supposed to be doing, exactly when it was supposed to be doing it, and everything was perfect. I had that, I don't know how I knew that, but I felt it. It was more like a feeling and an understanding and a knowing but it confused me at the same time. So all of this is going on, and we're still cruising across the asphalt at an angle away from the runway. The fire trucks have turned and they're catching up to us, and all of them are starting to chase us. And we ended up all the way across the asphalt and ended up halfway on and halfway off runway 4 right. So there's some slope on the edges of the runway so rain can run off, and we had bounced up on that slope, and the right main mount and the nose gear were on the runway. The left main mount wasn't, and we're kind of sitting like this when we got stopped. And when we stopped, my outer perspective of all of these things just kind of went back into me. It was just me again. And I'm like, what the hell happened? What was that? And I want to say something, but I don't know what to say. I don't know how to say it. And I look at Lieutenant Duffy in the right seat, and I saw him slump. So I knew he just came off this adrenaline rush. And when I came off mine, I felt like I just ran 5 marathons back to back. I was a young, healthy 24-year-old, physically fit, and I was exhausted. And I looked at him and watched him slump, and he turns his head to look at me. Now we're looking eye to eye. And I want to ask him, did you have that too? Didn't know what to say. I wanted to say something, but I just couldn't say anything, couldn't get it out. And about that time, I heard this noise behind me, whoo, whoo sound, and watched Duffy's eyes shift over my shoulder to see what it was. And I turned my head, and Lieutenant Lovegren, the pilot, I love the guy, he was a great pilot, but he gooned the landing that day. He's in stress still, and he's white-knuckling the yoke, and he's looking straight ahead, and he's trying to say something. You could see the stress in his face, and he couldn't get it out, and he's going, woo, woo. And he finally goes, what the did I do wrong? It's like I just couldn't believe that. And then the fire trucks caught up to us, and we sat there for a few minutes trying to determine if everything was okay, if the plane was damaged or whatever, and it wasn't. And we added power, pushed the power levers up, and got up on the runway 4 right and rolled out and went to the hangar. So I literally made one approach and one landing in a 4-engine heavyweight airplane doing a 3-engine emergency landing, and I used 2 entirely different runways to do that with, and I don't ever want to do that again. I now know everything's a miracle, but I didn't understand that at 24. I'm thinking I'm seeing my first miracle. And so I went to bed that night, and I said a simple prayer of gratitude, thanking God for just genuine gratitude in my heart, letting me see a real miracle. And then I added the words at the end of that prayer, and I just said, and Lord, it'd be nice if you could do something like that for me someday. And you don't expect anything. I mean, why would you? It's just a little prayer that lasted maybe 10 seconds in your head. And I went to sleep, and sometime in the middle of the night, we called it dark 30 in the military. I don't have any idea what time it was, 3 or in the morning, something like that. All of a sudden, I had an instantaneous shift in consciousness. I didn't go through a tunnel, I didn't die, I didn't do any of that. It was boom. Next thing I know, I'm in a black void, and I'm seeing this golden white light, beautiful, magnificent, gigantic, pouring out energy and light and profound unconditional love that was hitting me, filling me up, and it was powerful. The power that, and I knew I was in the presence of my Creator. I knew it, and the love was unbelievable. It's infinite power that love controls, and I knew that if this being did not want me to exist anymore, in half a thought I'd be gone forever. But there was this feeling of benevolence being, no words were spoken to me. This was all done with energy, of emotional energy. I can't explain it. I don't know how to explain that, but that's what was going on. And the benevolence was equally infinite, and was letting me know how precious I was to this being. And I felt like this is the best analogy I've been able to come up with yet over the decades. It felt like it was the end of the life of the universe, and I was so precious that I was being loved, held, and cradled by every mother that ever lived, everywhere, every when, all at once. And I was just dumbfounded. I couldn't believe what I was experiencing. And as wonderful as that sounds as an analogy, you need to understand this. That analogy absolutely sucks. It does not come close. I could speak about this for a billion years nonstop, and I would never be able to express it properly. That's why it's ineffable. And that's the best description I've been able to come up with so far. I said 3 words in just dumbfounded awe of what I was feeling and experiencing. And I just said, oh my goodness. And the essence of goodness just exploded through me, ripped through everything of me. And then there was joy and bliss and ecstasy and peace and harmony, all on a cosmic scale. And it was like when I first saw God, or God saw me, or whatever, it was like God was insanely in love with me. I had no idea love could be like that. And it was like God's throwing a cosmic party. There was no sound, but there's this cosmic party going on. God's going, everybody look, Tony's back, everybody. And I was just, it's 35 years ago, and it still does that to me. Oh my God. And I was home. There was this energy that I knew I was home, finally home. And I think God did what he did next because he knew me. And I'm an engineer. I have a mind of an engineer. I need proof. I'm very pragmatic, logical, down-to-earth kind of guy. And if he had not done this, what he did next, I would have probably written it all off as just a dream. But what happened next is this moment in all of this happening, when I was in the light, where I had this, what I call the urge to merge. There's this deep instinctive desire to go be in the light. It's all you want. You don't want anything else. I had a wife and a 2.5-year-old son. Didn't even think about them. You can't, because your consciousness is just overwhelmed with all this, and that's all you want, is to go deeper in the light. And when that happened, I physically sat up in bed and had my arms out. When I opened my eyes, and my face is all wet, and then and I'm looking at the foot of the bed, at the wall at the other end of the room, and there's no wall. The light is in my bedroom. God's in my bedroom. It was like 1 billion stars lit up the room, and I could see my wife's feet out of the peripheral vision of my eyes, and I knew she had her back to me. And I'm thinking, how can she sleep through this? It's like bright as it can be in here. How can she sleep through this? And then I went, this is real. I had enough time to think, this is happening. I got in my bedroom. This is real. And as soon as that happened and I knew it was real, I was saying it in my head. It was like a 10-foot circle, no wall. It all went, not in an instant, but it came down and just kind of went to the center from the outer edges and just went away. And I just went, no. I just lost the greatest love I'll ever know. It just got ripped away from me. And I don't know why I didn't get to stay. I don't know why it left. I didn't know anything. I just sat there. And the wall had this undulating spiritual energy or something in it for the rest of the night. And I sat there and just watched the wall, because that's all I had left of it. And as the sun came up and the room slowly lit up, it faded away. And then my wife wakes up. she sees me crying. She goes, "What the hell's wrong with you?" Oh, and I just cried. And I was finally able to tell her everything. And so, uh, and so prayer is powerful. I tell people that now. But what I've come to understand is conscious prayer, everybody knows and understands what its purpose is, right? What I now understand is all thought is prayer, and it affects the entire universe because of quantum entanglement. And so be careful what you pray for all day long. So I'm learning these things, and now I'm coming to the point of understanding why love and positive thoughts and all of that is so important. And as I've changed my way of thinking, I've literally changed my body and restoring my health, doing it that way, and being kind and loving as I can. And all of that stuff was really cool and neat to learn, but it really was a waste of time, because all we have to do is just love God with all our heart, and the way we do that is love each other unconditionally, because God is in every one of us. So when I'm loving you, I'm loving God. So if I'm not loving you, I'm not loving God. And so love God with all our heart, love each other like that, learn how to love unconditionally, and take care of this planet. If we all did that, we'd have heaven on earth right now.